Good day, ma'am. We are the Group 4. This case study shows that YMP, or the Yield Revenue Management Project, was a strategy that was implemented for the development of Britco Hotels. Britco Hotels is a big company that operates 4 brands, and it runs in all levels of hotel markets. In the mid-1930s, it was established and its head office was based in the United Kingdom. In January 1999, Britco Hotels has operated over 400 hotels in around 50 countries in Europe, the Americas, Asia, the Pacific, Africa, and Middle East. This case study was derived from Okoumus and was written by Dr. Pepsi Okoumus. He is a permanent chair professor with the Hospitality Services Department at the University of Central Florida's Wilson College of Hospitality Management. He was the founding chair of the Hospitality Services Department from 2007 to 2013. Between 1997 and 1999, this case study started and looked at how Britco Hotels implemented and developed their yield revenue management project. This case was intended to reconstruct the challenges and issues facing management in implementing strategic decisions. Problems and issues. Key problem. Britco Hotels had not been a consistent and company-wide uniform approach to managing revenue. IBT Group strongly argued that Britco Hotels had not been managed profitably. Britco Hotels have issues in the limitations of previous approaches to manage revenue and occupancy. Hotels had used manual systems that were time-consuming, inefficient, and often unreliable. Key problem. Communication mechanisms were not very effective, like coordination between functional areas was problematic. Miscommunication and conflict, and misunderstanding between head office and hotel unit staffs when introducing and implementing projects in Britco Hotel. Key problem. Many employees were worried about their jobs. They seemed threatened by the way YMP was introduced. People were often more interested in gaining and keeping new positions rather than delivering tasks and projects. Conflicts with divisions and functional departments. Senior managers are also confirmed that employees will not receive any financial benefits from the implementation of YMP. Labor turnover created a major problem in implementing the YMP. Key problem. The unrelated projects, particularly clustering and overall structural change, had general negative impacts on the implementation of YMP. Yield system unexpectedly started providing inconsistent and unreliable reports, and therefore the project team had to postpone its full development. Developing and implementing unrelated projects often had negative impacts on the implementation process of the YMP, and it made their tasks even more difficult. Several informants referred to the cultural change involved as a slow process. They had not perhaps given enough attention to this issue, and that the company had not yet been successful in adopting the yield culture completely.
Now I will be presenting to you the SWOT analysis of Britco Hotels. For their strength, the first one is that the company operated internationally with over 400 hotels across the world. Next is that the company gave more emphasis to the value of the hotel experience rather than the room type or rate. They also have project management handbook which explains key issues and concepts in step-by-step format. And lastly, Britco Hotels was perhaps the first hotel group in the United Kingdom to develop and implement a centralized yield project and was therefore ahead of the competition. For their weaknesses, the first one is that the company was unable to manage profitably. They are also inconsistent when it comes to managing revenue, wherein hotels have been using manual system which is time-consuming, inefficient, and unreliable. They've been struggling also with unrelated projects that isn't appropriate to the hotels. Also, the labor turnovers across the company make things lower. The company was too formal and bureaucratic, and barrier was formed between the employees. And lastly, the communication mechanism is one of the main issues in the company over the past years. Now for the opportunities of the company that can open something positive for them. The first one is that the technological development which can lessen the workload and for much effective data transfer. Next one is that the company is performing good and is reasonably strong. Next is that the gross domestic product is continuing to rise. Also, the external trainings and workshops to help the employees and the company as well. And lastly, the YMP or Yield Management Project might help them to predict the future trend. And lastly, for the threats which can negatively affect the company, the first one is that the company had doubts that the YMP would be able to recognize any sharp decline in demand, and the recession in the United Kingdom, which refers to a significant decline in general economic activities.
To address the problems and issues, we came up with the following recommendations. So the Britco Hotels had not been a consistent and company-wide uniform approach in managing the revenue. So it is recommended that first, Britco Hotels should improve their revenue management strategy and culture. The strategy should be specific and detailed. For instance, in all parts of the hotel, all revenue sources and revenue drivers should be included into the plan, and the plan should be under on a strong base revenue objectives. Second, the Britco Hotels should think regarding total revenue management in which it optimizes every revenue streams. Third, the Britco Hotel should cooperate with the sales and marketing departments because revenue managers can give recommendation and opinions about the pricing and marketing insights. So partnering with the revenue managers are important. In addition, the insights of the company's every movement should be guided with observation. So lastly, the Britco Hotel should track and measure their progress. For instance, benchmarking performances can help the company to improve and analyze their competitors.
One of the key problems is a communication mechanism were not very effective, like coordination between functional areas was problematic. Prior to change in ownership, the company was very bureaucratic organization. There were conflicts within division and functional departments. Therefore, one-on-one meetings can help to avoid workplace communication problems. A specific step-by-step action plan can also also was also developed for implementing the YNP in each hotel. The real communication with managers and employees in hotels took place through training workshops. The Yale department initially worked with a specialized external training company when preparing these workshops. Complementing a complex project successfully requires a good communication among team members. And also, one of the key problems is many employees was worried about their jobs. They seemed threatened by the way YMP was introduced. Labor turnover created a major problem in implementing the YMP. So encouraging the employees to be on the lookout for good behaviors to commend. You give people a sense of ownership of the company. Make opportunities for the development and growth. Employees place huge value on opportunities for growth. The YMP required a number of structural changes and adjustments at the unit level. During the interviews and also the training workshops, it was emphasized by the senior executive that the project was essential for the company to minimize the hotel's vulnerability to staff turnover.
Unrelated projects, particularly clustering, is one of the problems and issues to yield management project. That may result to the loss of revenue of brick hotels, but still there are ways that will keep YMP in helping brick hotels manage their products and revenue stream. Well, according to Miranda Cheatham, creating a quality process, planning out work, and prioritizing task assignment are some of the process to prevent unexpected challenges regarding to yield management project. Creating a quality process. Quality and completeness can be assessed before moving on to the next piece, and any problems can be fixed sooner. Planning out works helps to reduce jumping back and forth between unrelated things, which tends to be less productive. And last is prioritizing task assignment. Our jobs that need to be completed also should be given a clear level of priority so that the most important or crucial items are addressed first. And here are some of our recommendations regarding to the problems and issues to Britco hotels.
For guide question number 1, YMP developed when they finally had positive impacts on the deployment of their project. They see that the technological development brings opportunity and improvement to the management. 2. It gives influence to YMP because it sets and manages realistic expectation, establishes common goals among the team, and they maintain management commitment. It is common to implement multiple projects in an organization. But before having a successful one, you must know how and when to prioritize tasks, stay focused, and balance the projects. Communicate with your team and plan before starting anything for you to have a smooth run on your project. Number 4. External environment acts in its organization. It influences the objectives, plans, procedures, activities, and results in the process of development of the YMP. 5. Britco Hotel has several problems. They face some difficulties in their organization. With that, we can say that it is not managed properly by the first owner. The organizational context helps the team to broaden their knowledge so that they will know what to do during the process of their implementation. Number 6. During the interviews and also at training workshops, it was emphasized by senior executives that the project was essential for the company. It aimed at designing a computerized yield management system that could forecast and monitor the demand for each hotel, and it produced daily reports for the next several months. Number 7. Upon planning and implementation of YMP, Britco and the employees in the company faced numerous amounts of challenges, such as communication and coordination between functional areas was problematic, conflicts and misunderstandings between head office and hotel units. To sum it up, upon the development and implementation of YMP, it revolves around the poor communication strategy of the hotel. Number 8. If YMP was also implemented in other countries and cultures, radical structural changes would also take place. The success of the implementation of YMP will depend on the company's management on the specific country. Number 9. The school of thought that would probably describe the development process of the YMP for us is from the managing director of UK Hotels and the yield director, who stated that initially they had failed to consider how they could use information provided by the YMP in a broader way and maximize the management information. Number 10. As we wrapped up this case study, we came into a realization that whether you actively recognize it or not, the communication system you put in place for your business greatly impacts your long-term success. In addition, in this case study, we strongly believe that the biggest lesson we can ever get is to trust the process. Yes, there will be no smooth sailing ride, but we can choose how to handle the things that we might come along the way while executing our plan.
To summarize our case study, we strongly believe that in every hotel, there was a specific goal that needed to be achieved. For instance, in order to expand the desired profit of Britco Hotels, they come up with a pricing strategy called Yield Management Project or YMP. And this has been the highlight of this case study. In this strategy, in every task, there are members or teams who need to contribute in executing this project, including middle managers, develop plans, secure the necessary resources, arrange regular training workshops, and communicate to relevant parties. But a few months later, unforeseen threats were experienced which resulted in the delays of the project. During the time when the YMP was being implemented, the Britco Hotels encountered major problems from the company's size, organizational structure, and even in the culture of the company itself. The structural adjustments made an unpleasant working environment that caused difficulties in implementing new projects in Britco hotels. While the YMP was carried out at 160 hotels, the project team faced hardships in deploying the project at several locations with varying levels of resources and abilities. And that sums up the implementation process of a revenue management strategy in Britco hotels.